You seen him hit people, but you haven't seen him get hit. You ain't seen him get hit, like really get hit, pressure, push back, because
Yep.
pressure boosts fights, and that's what I believe in. And it's like, see him get past the first round, see how I respond then.
It's the New Line and King of the Mountain State show. I'm here alongside Keith No, and we're talking to Rick the Beast Randolph. How you doing, Rick?
Every day is Christmas, man.
Man, you've been busy lately. You've been fighting all over the place, and you've got 3 more fights scheduled, including your big kickboxing match with us on August 6th.
Correct. Yeah, that's it's big maybe to him, but not to me. He's just another body.
Yeah, it's
So you're up against Chase Stafford. It's going to be a title fight. It'll be the first kickboxing match ever at King of the Mountain State. How do you feel about this fight going into it?
I don't. I don't feel anything. I don't even Chase. I haven't seen Chase challenge though, so I can't really gauge and say he's a dangerous opponent. The guys that he stopped with the kicks or whatever, that first guy that he fought, not to discredit him, but he looked trash to me to begin with. Then the second guy, I don't really have nothing bad to say about him either. I mean, he showed up. It was a short notice, but
Yeah.
I can't really gauge off of the fact that he's so dangerous and stuff because he stopped guys and stuff. Mike Tyson was stopping a lot of guys. Then he fought a guy who went the distance with him and got up from that. And then what happened? So gotta think about that.
I think that his last fight was definitely his biggest test so far. Eli Hawkins is really a tough guy, and I do think that's the first time we really saw him up against a high caliber opponent. And now he's stepping it up even more against you. You've got a ton of experience on him. You've been fighting for a long time, training for a long time. So this is just another day at the office.
That's why we took 2 of the fights before this. That's how much energy we put into this. A week apart.
So Rick, the first time we saw you, here in West Virginia was the Baileysville Brawl tournament back in April. You were coming down into a place you didn't know. I think you were talking like you were a little worried about the area before you got here, and then man, you ended up being the crowd favorite. What was that experience like?
Now that was a great experience. I really enjoyed it a lot because I said coming down at first, seeing Confederate flags, and I'm like, oh, this is not a good place. I'm like, I'm finna assess everybody because I'm getting home. So, But after going in there and seeing how everybody was conversing with us, and then how the whole atmosphere just seemed. Y'all have we went to a New York crowd and we thought that was the livest crowd, but the energy at that environment, I mean, it was addictive though. It was an exhilarating feeling. And I enjoyed every bit of it. We're like, I got to come back here again because when the engagement with the Baby Shark movement came into play and we got all the kids involved, that was a surreal moment. Like my biggest moment of the whole thing was engaging with the crowd because I don't care about the fight. I've been fighting, so it's not a big thing for me. But to bring other kids and they sharing that moment, I feel like that was more of a pivotal moment for me.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. And all those kids they were excited, man. I guess the first night nobody really knew you, but people were really getting into that entrance, and then your opponent was nowhere to be found, and that was a weird that was a weird thing. I guess he saw you and just left.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was definitely. I mean, I've seen that happen, man. That did. I've had that stuff happen to me before where they saw me at weigh-ins and left, but I've never, like had to go into the ring and just standing around. Yeah, that was. Oh, there goes Elijah. Yeah, that was. Has that ever happened to you before?
Yeah, at a few events. We went to a event. It was some guy supposed to be fighting from, I think he's from Ohio, Missouri. He came to weigh-ins. We took pictures. It was all that. It was an 8-hour drive for him. The next day, the promoter called me and was like, yeah, we don't know what happened. He just said his heart ain't into it, and he just left. Like, went 8 hours back. So it happened to me plenty of times. So I'm not used to people getting cold feet or getting a reality check. And the guy for at your event, I talked to him. I didn't know he was even fighting. Yeah. Let alone I was gonna fight him either. And we just conversed about random stuff, workouts and stretches and good warm-up technique. And then that was it.
He's gone. Yeah. He had the same excuse too. He said, my heart's not in it. I don't think I want to do this anymore. He left. Man, I don't know if you still get nervous before fights. I'm usually, whenever I fight, even when I was very active, I was always good leading up to it. And then when you start getting really close, especially the day of, man, the nerves hit. And I think I always respected anybody, even if I was a heavy favorite. I know like this guy could still put me out. He's coming in here to hurt me. But when the bell rang, it was all I was good. Back to my strategy, focused on the fight. But when you're in that, when you're climbing those steps, going into the ring, you get that adrenaline hits, that nervousness hits. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, I still get that any event I'm doing, no matter if I feel I can beat the guy can beat me. But I use that as the simple fact of alertness, of being aware of the fact that possibility I got to stay on my A game, because anybody got a punch chance, a kick chance. Yeah. I don't just look past nobody. I'm gonna run through anybody. Back in my head, I'm telling myself I want to be safe when I get in and safe when I get out. And I want to be competitive, and this as much as a competition as possible. And that's my concept on it.
Yeah. So Elijah is back.
Sorry about that, fellas. My phone got too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot out there today, but you keep us going. Sorry for the interruption.
That event, you came out and your first opponent backed out. You came out and looked really good your second two fights, and both of your opponents were game, man. Like David Langston, that's the first time I had seen him fight, and he impressed me. That was a really good match. And then Tyler Melito, that's his first time ever in a boxing ring, and I feel like he hung in there. So
with Tyler, we had a whole bond through the first day I got there. We just had a good moment and everything. So it was kind of awkward when I had to compete against him in the finals, because we just bonded, talked, text, and crack jokes and all this. So it was awkward. I'm giving him tips of when he's gonna fight the one big guy.
Yeah. They
end up putting his hand on pinky or whatever happened to him, and it was like, I got to fight. I'm like, it was more that hesitant, because I'm like, I bonded with this man versus the first guy. We didn't have no conversation, so it wasn't no problem of getting busy. But yeah, Tyler, we still talk. Like I touched bases with him, and like I said, the fact that him getting there and that knockout he had his first fight, that's what I said, that shook the room. He had people coming up to him he autographing all types of people. He was a celebrity from that knockout. I even look, oh my goodness, that was impressive. Coming from wrestling and it jumped into this. He's
a good kid, man. I've known him for a few years. I used to coach soccer at the high school he went to. He was a football player, and he used to come out and when he wasn't doing football, he would come out and scrimmage with the soccer team just to get a workout. He didn't know anything about soccer, but he was having fun. So it was pretty cool, when he reached out to me about fighting. So I was excited to see him in there, and I'm proud of him, man. He looks really good. Stayed composed. He had the balls to get in there with you, man. I mean, his first tournament, and he got in there and came after you. Yeah.
So. He trying to take my head off my shoulders. I'm like, I was saying, like, I was kind of thinking about it, but he wasn't. He like, I won't try to knock you out if I can.
He's a competitor, man.
He definitely is.
Yeah, so hoping to get him back in here soon. And what's funny is he had been training with Chase Stafford, actually.
He told me.
Yeah. So yeah.
When this fight was announced, he actually he commented on the post and was like, "My two coaches are fighting."
He reached out to me and told me, like, "Oh man, you fighting the guy that was training? Well, I trained with him a few times." I'm like, "Okay." I mean, that's y'all thing, but
yeah. So yeah, man, I didn't expect that answer. It's just another fight to you. To Chase, this is a big step up in competition. And he's not been shying away from the competition, but ever since that first big head kick knockout he's had, we couldn't get anybody to fight the man. And I know I've heard the same thing about you before. It's been hard for you to find certain fights too, because a lot of people are ducking you. So
that's why I travel.
You just fight anywhere and everywhere you can.
Exactly. Just eliminate that, because when you don't have no fights, you get stale. You already understand the ring rust and all that. Yeah. So that's why I compete. Whether it's a kickboxing, grappling, MMA, kickboxing, boxing, it's something to keep me going, since I can't get nothing in my area. I just migrate, take last minute fight. Just to stay active. That's all.
Yeah. So after this, man, what are your plans moving forward from this?
Nothing that's really far as fight wise. I think gonna keep taking on. My goal is to get from like what I always explained to Elijah from last October, almost under 2 years. I already competed 36 times already. So my goal is to get about 18 more in by this end of this year.
Yeah,
and to
18 before the end of the year. Hey, we can get you another 5 or 6 of those ourselves on our shows.
Yeah,
so.
I plan to keep dealing with you guys. I like y'all energy, and
yeah,
everybody there just made me. It felt like home. It definitely felt like home to me.
So another thing we haven't talked about today is you've been around the game for a while. You've seen a lot, and you feel like you have a lot to offer to these younger fighters, more than just coaching guys in the gym, but, like mentoring people. And that's something that seems like it's pretty important to you. So you want to talk to everybody about that?
Yeah, that always been my thing. I always feel like in life we all servants in some form, way, or fashion. And I feel as though everybody gets us to the top, and once they get there, they neglect what got them there or who got them there. We get the supporting system. So I always figured though, with me as myself, would be an example. I can't really be the standard or proclaim you need to be this way or govern yourself this way, and then I'm not walking in that same light. So I'll take my time with community service, with mentoring, with helping out, any form of advice I can give somebody, whether it's workout or like aid and assist somebody or helping them with a resume, just anything, because everybody who gets to these top 10, I feel like when they're on these platforms, they can really use that as a voice and really perpetuate their energy and their knowledge that they can to certain people. But there's not just talk though, like really follow up on people, help people in your area. It kills me that people do all these, I want to go on this side of the world to help these people and stuff. You got somebody down the street that's going through it right now, or you got somebody with your family tree, or somebody in your district, or somebody in the state an hour away from you and stuff. So I do my best to at least, as much as I'm speaking about it, is exercising that within the areas that I can surround myself by as much as possible.
So what piece of advice would you give young fighters or young people who are just starting out on the path that you're on?
What I live by as far as on the workout tip, the more you sweat, the less you bleed. So take your workout seriously as well as your nutrition. It's 80-20. It's 80% what you eat and 20% of your mechanic. So you can get wrapped up in doing all this workout, but if you're not eating right and balancing out that everything that comes from your digestive system. So regardless of whatever sickness you get or whatever the thing came off from, it started from there. So if you keep that clean as much as possible and stay around the right influences. And a lot of people be quick to turn pro because that's the gateway though. But from the business aspect of it, if you're not tied to a solid organization that's really pushing you out there where you need to go, you're not gonna make anything. You can be on the shelf if you're not promoting. Right now it's popularity. Back then it used to be about the solid fighters or who do what. Now it's who put ass in seat. And that's where a lot of people get wrapped up with, where he's popular, he probably might be trash, but if he sell tickets, they're going to push him out there.
Yep.
So it now became like a WWE. So you really see it's very few organizations that really respect the fact of, oh, he's a tough competitor and he got a buzz and we need to push him regardless. So my advice for a lot of the peers that run into the game, don't be so quick to get as much exposure you can. Keep your brain fresh. You don't have to be sparring all crazy, because I hear a lot of fighters like, oh, I want to spar. I met fighters who get more beat up. I even get beat up more in sparring than I have in my real fight, because I put so much into it. We get over excess. We do extra training. And now we fatigue and they walk around lethargic, and now our performance is lost. And not the fact that the person was better than me because I overdid it, because in my mind, it's that fear that I don't want to lose, I don't want to fail. But you learn from your losses, though. Those are your lessons. Yeah. And this is some effect of, you can't be a prisoner to your past. You really can't be wrapped up with that. It's the fact of you learn from it's a lesson behind it. So you can't get wrapped up of what you experience and what you're going through. Look at it as it's a growth and development. Adversity builds character. And I tell everybody, before a plant grows, before anything, what the first thing you got to do? You got to go through dirt. So that's the same way that applies to every portion of your life. Take that and gain from that. Whatever advice, gym, conversation, old head that you can get into, apply yourself. Don't be so quick to skip the rankings. And some people don't realize that some people you fight in the amateur circuit, you're gonna fight when you turn pro. So if you barely can get through, I know some people with finances that play a role too, because these gyms cost a lot. And I deal with that with $150 here and this and that. And I'm fighting a fight and I'm selling tickets and doing this, but I'm barely getting a third of that back. So I get it, because some people don't have just that chance to really apply this stuff. Sometimes people do have to jump out to turn pro to feed their families. And I understand and respect that too. But don't go out there and fight anybody. I had plenty of people who quote unquote called me out and said they would like to fight me.
Mm-hmm.
Entertain that. It's like throwing rocks at a fortress. It's like, oh, you want to fight me? Congratulations. Like, so do a lot of other people. You know, you can't get wrapped up with that journeyman aspect of, once again, you can have this buzz and it could be going for you. You can fight somebody who's a nobody and he get known off for you, and now there it goes. You was right here where you need to be, and you expose yourself because you let your ego get the best of it.
Really, I just have one last thing to talk to you about. You know, we talked a little earlier about Chase Stafford, and you talked about his experience, but where do you think his strengths and weaknesses lie as a fighter?
Chase, now don't get me wrong. Just because his competition hasn't, I'm saying this speaking on what I said earlier, just because his competition ain't been at his best to him, because I met people who, it don't mean he's a bad fighter, because he's still a quality fighter. To me, the small stuff that I've seen, I can tell that he keep getting his feet wet, he keep getting his process, and regardless of between me and him, he stay humble and grounded and take it seriously. I can see him actually going up there, moving to the part. I see, as far as weaknesses, I see the fact that he's a quick starter. And that works when you fight lower level fighters. I'm not saying those guys, I'm speaking in general. And like if we was going off of rankings, novice, intermediate, and advanced type of fighters, like more open type of fighter. You fight a guy, a novice, you can run through them real quick because they can't take a hit. They panic, they freeze up, get in the fetal position, they run away. Intermediate, you might have a little bit more skills you'll deal with. You might catch them with a good shot. But I've learned where my skills are in during the fights, during the rounds. Now I'm getting that challenge. Now I'm seeing where my heart rate is. Now I'm seeing if I'm still alert, how I can move. Am I still able to apply my agility in the fight? And I feel like his strength is, like, he seemed like a hot shot fighter. Like if he hits you with whatever he hits you with, he gonna put you down. And I feel like that works in his favor. And I feel as though his range, his height, that works in his favor as well, as far as in him in the fight game. I feel as though fighting at 205, or what is he, 215 and 235, whatever. I feel like those are big guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big heavyweight, but I'm pretty big for a lot of guys I go. I feel as though him at a 185, I feel like he'll be a dominant force to be reckoned with, because by him being that height, he gonna be a giant to them. But and with the heavyweight, our weight plays a big role. Y'all already know that. Y'all been around, so y'all know, like, he'll get away with it now. And I feel as though he get in the right weight class. He cut a little bit more weight. I see sky's the limits for him though, because he have a lot of potential. Though. I can see him as, if I was out there, I would do my best to try to take him under my wing. That's how much I respect, or I see his hunger within him. So I definitely see that in him.
So what's your edge in this fight?
Besides experience and my endurance, he's not gonna be able to go at my pace regardless. You've seen him hit people, but you haven't seen him get hit. You ain't seen him get hit, like really get hit, pressure, push back, because pressure brings pipes, and that's what I believe in. And it's like, see him get past the first round, see how I respond then. When I reached out to Keith, we thought it was a 5-round fight, because usually title fights is usually more. But I went 3 is still cool. He still get a good pace and stuff. So I feel as though he gonna be able to do all them flashy kicks. It's not gonna bother me. Them hook kicks that's not gonna. He hit me. I mean, it's not gonna scare me or nothing, because I'm used to that stuff. Not saying that he can't show me something I haven't seen though, because every fighter gave me a different experience. Tyler gave me a different experience. The guy before him gave me a different experience. But yeah, I don't feel like he's gonna be able to keep me off him though. I don't feel like he could. He's not big enough.
So if Chase is watching right now, if you could talk directly to him, what would you say?
Based on me fighting me,
like, about this fight coming up.
I would tell him to go out and find a pace and maintain that. Because if he come out there super fast like he did his last few fights, that's not going to look good for him, because I'm going to expose that. And now I'll take away his best strength, and then I'm going to disarm him. But then from there, what he going to have to fight me to keep me off? He can't come with that fast start. And I mean, I get it, because that's his style, and it works for him. But I'm a different animal. So if he don't want me to make a mink out of him and stuff, he better not come with that quick, fast. This ain't it's a marathon. It's not a 50-yard dash.
Yeah. Well, we got the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. Experience versus the young prospect. We're gonna find out on August 6th.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about this one. All right. Rick, thanks for coming on, my man. Looking forward to seeing you fight, and hoping I can catch your other 2 fights the next couple of weeks leading up to this one. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Have a great day.
All right.